Lesson 27, Distributive Property and Solving Decimal Equations. Remember, distributive property is when we have a parenthesis with a binomial or a trinomial or polynomial, and we need to multiply whatever is on the outside. So in this case, we're going to multiply xy times x3, and then xy times the negative 7ay. So when we do the first one, remember we add the exponents. So we're going to have x4y. And then when I multiply xy times negative 7ay, we have to do, there's like a 1 here, so negative 7a. The x doesn't change, and then the y would be y squared. And that's all we have to do. In the next example, we have exactly the same thing, but they gave us the term that is on the outside on the right. But it's the same. So I'm going to multiply first here. And so 3 times 2 is 6. Then the x's, we have x squared times x to the third power. So we add the exponents. That's x to the fifth power. And then m5, mb4. Remember, if the letters are not the same, then we just put them next to each other, multiplying. Then I'm going to multiply 2 times negative 7. That's negative 14. There's no a on both of them, just on one, so I keep it the same. Then I do b times b4, which is adding the exponents, b5, and then the x3. Just make sure you don't forget any of the letters. In the next example, we have exactly the same, but in this case, instead of a binomial, we have a trinomial. So we have to do it 3 times. So let's start with the first one. 7 times 2 is 14. m3 times m is m4 by adding the exponents, and x times x7 is x8 by adding the exponents again. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35. m1 times m3 is m4, and then the x. And then the last one is 7 times 8, 56. And then there's no letters that are in both terms, so we just put the letters next to each other. And that's it. The second section of this lesson is solving decimal equations. As we saw before, what we are going to do is get rid of the decimals. So we count how many decimals there are, and the one that has the most amount of decimals tells us by which power of 10 we have to multiply by. So in this case, we have 2 decimals, so we're going to multiply times 100 here, but then we have to do it to all of them. So when we multiply times 100, we get 40 plus 2x equals 540. And then we solve that as a regular equation. The 40 that is adding is going to subtract, so we get 500. And then the 2 that is multiplying goes to divide, so we have 250. And that's the value of x. In this case, we do the same. We count, and this one has 3 decimals. The other ones have only 2. So in this case, we have to multiply times 1,000 because we have 3 decimals. So we have to put 3 zeros. When we multiply by 1,000, we get 3k plus 40 equals 5,010. In this case, we do exactly the same. We pass the 40 to subtract, which is 4,970. Then we pass the 3 to divide, and we get 1,656 and 6 repeating. And that would be our answer. And that's it. You just have to be very careful. All right, see you in the next lesson.